Jay, just from a general standpoint, what have you seen from this unit overall that you guys have been able to win at the line of scrimmage so well throughout this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think going in, we felt pretty good about the inside kids. I think the multiplicity of what we are able to do with our defensive ends has been really good, and it's been different from what we've done in the past. And we're playing with a little bit more width. We're playing with a little bit more edge, and I think it's kind of limited some of the runs we've seen. But obviously, I think Cashius has been tremendous. I think Marco Jones and Ryland behind him, are really coming along. And then I think TJ Searcy's really helped us. Dayon's helped us a lot, like to the field, like with a little bit bigger body, but able to play on the edge more. And I think they come off the rock, they knock people back. I think they've done a good job.
And then y'all had some veteran guys that y'all knew were capable of doing good things, but I'm just curious, who maybe are one or two guys that have improved the most through the season that have stepped up in big roles for y'all?
Yeah, I mean, I think Marco Jones just continues to really impress, and I mean, just a really talented kid, really smart young man. Understands football, makes sense to him. We do a lot with him. And I think his future is really bright. I think Landon Rink's really come along the last couple of weeks. I thought he played really, really good against LSU when he got in there at the end. We were able to rotate him in more. I think all those young D linemen, I think we feel really good about that class we signed.
Coach, to the right, third row, David.
Jay, was this game personal for the defense considering what happened in the Arkansas game, and then also like the history with LSU? Because you look at Cassius's body language, Dez, and it just seemed like they always won it, but there seemed like to be amped up a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were really disappointed with how he played at Arkansas. I was disappointed how he coached at Arkansas. So I think, I mean, look, we talked to him all week about when you go play at LSU, kind of like the aura of that place and like going in there to play at night. And I think they were ready for the challenge for sure. And I think, I knew Friday night, man. Friday night we had our meeting and we talked about stuff, and I was pretty confident Friday night we were gonna play at a really high level, and I thought we did.
To the left, front row, Tony.
Coach, obviously, we asked Elko this earlier, and he said it was on first and second down that earned this opportunity, but you guys are number 2 in the nation on third downs. What is it about this group that allows you guys to thrive so much on that money down?
I think we have done a really nice job. We've gotten a lot of third and longs, which make it easier, okay? I think we spend a lot of time on it. I think our kids embrace kind of what we're trying to do. I tell people this all. I mean, Cashius Howell, I don't know where he is in the nation, but he's got a bunch of sacks. And I mean, we stopped Florida on the 4th and 6th, and he's dropping out in coverage and playing 2-man on a receiver. So I think there's a lot of like, hey, if I do my job, we're going to get home, we're going to get off the field. We ask people to do a lot of different things, and we've got kids a lot with a pretty wide skill set. And so I think they enjoy it. I think they embrace kind of the challenge we give them each week. Schematically, different things. And, I think we've got it in good positions, and then we've done a really nice job when we've gotten those situations. And I think there's more to come, too.
Coach, we'll go to the right, second row, Mark.
Jay, you
Mark,
started
I
off.
appreciate the Redskins T-shirt. There you go.
My silent protest. But you started the season having Taurean and Scooby as your starters. Then obviously Damian Sanford comes on. But this weekend you had Noah McHale out there. Jordan Lockhart had a sack. You talk a little bit about that linebacker unit as a whole and the depth that you've been able to develop.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part at linebacker right now is just not enough reps to go around. But, yeah, Noah jumped in. I mean, look, second play, I guess Noah was in the game. He had a TFL. I thought Noah played really well. Jordan, I think, is going to be a really good player, is a really good player. Jordan's just behind a guy who's a really, really valuable piece of our defense right now. So it was good to see Scooby back. I felt like that was the closest he's been to healthy, really, since the Notre Dame game. Felt that way during the week. I thought he played really well. And I've said this before. I mean, I don't know if I've been more proud of a kid than I am of Damian, the way he's produced. So I think, it's a good group of kids. I enjoy those guys every day. I'm really fortunate to coach those kids.
Coach, all the way in the back, Donna.
Coach, Cashius leads the SEC in sacks, and he's third nationally. Just can you talk about his development over the last year and a half? I know earlier this season, Elko talked about the way that he prepared for his senior year is about as good as he's seen anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I love that kid. He's so unselfish. He practices so hard. He's really smart. Yeah, I mean, I love that kid. I think he is everything you want in a football player. And I think, a lot of our young kids look up to him, because of kind of how he got here and the level he plays at right now. But I think it's a testament to a young man who's got a lot of ability, who decided to go to work, and he's reaping the rewards right now. And yeah, I love that kid. I think he's a tremendous player, a tremendous kid. I love going out to practice with that kid every day.
We'll stay all the way in the back, Tyler.
Yeah, Jay, it seemed, after kind of a rough patch there in the second quarter against LSU, something clicked, and defense kind of played, locked down the rest of the way. And it seems like there's been those moments this year where there's mid-game, something clicks and the lockdown defense comes. What do you attribute that to, that kind of switch?
I think they have good coaches too, right? So they found a way to attack us a little bit, and we have to counter. I think sometimes our kids get settled down into kind of the flow of the game. I thought against LSU, we missed some tackles. I think that we shouldn't miss. Not like we missed. So I think that was part of it. And I think at halftime we came in there and kind of settled down, and kind of settled on how we were going to, the run structure we were going to play. And I think once we kind of got settled into that, they were having a hard time on first and second down blocking us on drop back pass. So once we kind of settled down in how we were going to defend the run and still give ourselves a chance to rush the passer, I felt like it kind of locked in pretty good for us. But yeah, I'll agree with you. I think our kids, I feel like the focus and the communication during the game this year, really after the first game or two, has really been at a high level. And I think our ability to kind of dial in on what's happening right now has been a message we've been trying to drive home. And I feel like we've got some veteran kids that have experience now at some key spots, some key communication spots, and I think those things are helping us.
We'll come to the right, front row, Carter.
Jay, just talking about Cashius Howell, when did you think this kind of season was possible for him, and maybe what has impressed you the most from what you've seen from him?
I felt like last year he was one of the better players in our conference, which is the best conference in college football, right? So, I kind of felt like once we kind of settled in with how we were going to use him on third downs, and then I think we've made some schematic changes to allow him to kind of rush more, which I'm a big fan of, and I think it's really helped him and helped us. I think he's a really talented kid, and I think he works really hard at it. And so when you're really talented and you work really hard at something, and then it kind of clicks, I think what you're seeing, that's what you're seeing. And I feel like I've always had a lot of faith in that kid, to be honest with you.
Did you see the video of him kind of losing his mind during the LSU
I don't
game?
think. Yeah. First of all, I absolutely saw it. I absolutely love it. He wasn't losing his mind. Look. This is a competitive environment, brother. You know what I mean? So there's a certain edge you have to play with, and I think he plays with it. And we've talked about some things, but if you're going to play defensive football in the SEC at a really high level, man, you got to play with a certain level of attitude and edge, and I think Cashius has that. Yeah, I love that dude.
We'll go to the left, third row, Matthew.
Coach, you talked about communication in the defense. How important has having such an intelligent linebacker like Taurean York been for the defense?
I don't know a scale, but whatever the scale you would use, it's extremely high. Yeah, he's really bright. We are able to do things. And look, I think the job, Ish is done with our safeties. I think Marcus Ratcliffe and Dalton Brooks have come so far by our ability to rely on them to communicate too. But yeah, I think Taurean, it's so important to him. He has such a high level of expectations for himself. He works so hard at it, and the ability to communicate with a kid on the field, and I feel like y'all might want to ask him this, but I feel like now that I'm on the sideline with him and our ability to visually communicate while I'm talking to him, I just there's a sense of calm that he provides the defense that I think is hard to measure. Yeah.
Front right, first row, Travis.
Hey, Jay, I know the concept of halftime adjustments can be a little cliche, but it does seem like the defense has been especially good in the second half. How much has that time, do you feel like, been key to making the adjustments, making the changes?
Yeah. There's been, look, every game's a little different, right? But there have been some games where it's been like, hey, look, we need to do this, we need to do that more. I think more of the time it's been like we've kind of gone in with a game plan of, we've got 4 or 5 different ways, we're anticipating them attacking us. And then you kind of get into the second quarter and realize, okay, this is what they're trying to do. this is the schematic answer we thought we had going in. This is what we're going to do. Are we good with this? And then they kind of get in line with it, and then it works out pretty good for us. We have good players, so and we have really like smart, tough players. And so when we get them in the right mindset and the right focus, I think we can play with anybody. And I think that's what's kind of happened, I think, in some of these second halves is we've been able to go in at halftime and say, okay, look, we called this a couple times. Hey, we're going in this direction now. This is what we practice. This is why we have this. And I've been really impressed with our ability to go do that.
With Cashius on the other side, TJ Searcy's kind of been a guy who just kind of seemingly quietly gone about his business. What did you see from him for him to kind of be in that starting role and just his continued progress?
Yeah, I think we look at him and Dayon as like 1A, 1B. TJ plays on normal downs a little bit more. Hayes plays on third down a little more. So that's more like who gets the start. But yeah, I had a lot of experience with TJ. I knew he would really fit what we needed. He's long. He's a really good run defender. There's an intelligence and a toughness about him that I really value, and he's a really important part of our run defense. I think he's done a really nice job.
We'll go to the left, third row.
When you guys run some of those more like exotic simulated pressures and stuff, how much trust do you have in the players, and how much trust do the players have to have in each other to kind of sort out the mental aspect of those plays?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a privilege to play on third down. That's what we tell them. So when you go out there on third down, we're basically telling you we trust you to go do third down's the only down. Like I say it all the time, right? So like, there's a privilege in playing on that situation with our staff. And then I think they trust each other. I mean, we work really hard at it. We spend a lot of time on it, right? We come down there Wednesday morning at 7:30 and like, hey, look, here's the third down plan. I mean, the iPads are out and the pencils are sharpened and they're getting ready to go to work. They understand the value of it, and I think like anything else, right? When we've had some success, they've enjoyed the success. It helps you kind of focus and work every week at it.
We'll stay to the left, second row, Alex.
First, you mentioned how you're coaching from the field this year. Just what have you seen the biggest benefit in doing that, and just the difference that?
I think the biggest benefit is probably with the linebackers, just to be able to look them in the eye. You know what I mean? And then I do feel like the ability to kind of like go, kind of tie it all together, and with Mike. You know what I mean? Mike's kind of busy though sometimes. So it's like, to be able to kind of say, hey, look, we're like, everybody good. We're going to do this way, and I think that's been probably the best part of it. Not that you can't do that over a headset, but it's not quite the same. And I like being down there more. I think that kids like me down there a little more. So I think that's been a plus.
And then I asked Colin this: from all the success that you guys have had this year, just where would you like to still see this defense improve, or maybe fine tune as you hit the home stretch?
I feel like the run defense, it has not been fundamentally as consistent as it needs to be. Even Saturday, we made some really nice plays in the front that saved us a couple of times, but like our lines to the football, our lines to the gaps need to be a little cleaner. I think the consistency of like fundamentals in the run game, and then I just think in coverage, we had a couple opportunities Saturday to have some really big plays that we just weren't quite deep enough, weren't quite at the exact spot we need to be in. And I think some of those things, consistency back there, but I think if we get the run defense really tightened up like it has been at times, then I think we have a pretty good group.
We'll stay to the left, second row, Aaron.
Hey, Coach. One thing Coach Elko's pressed on a lot this year is mindset and forgetting the past. Just what have you seen, like, I guess, from the team's mindset this season compared to last year?
I think there are some kids on our team that were here a year ago that realize, like, hey, look, there's a focus and there's a mindset that you have to have to be successful that I think is carried over. And then I think we've got some kids that have come in from other places that realize how unique this opportunity is and how special it is to be in this situation, and they want to do everything they can to keep it going. So, I think some of our leaders on defense have done a really nice job of like maintaining the main thing, right? Look, the main thing is the main thing, right? How we go out, how we practice, how we work, how we prepare. When you do that, you're confident on Saturdays. I feel like that's been one of our big changes, yeah, for sure.
To the right, second row, Mark.
Jay, looking at the stats, DJ Hicks looks like he's probably giving you the most bang for the buck in terms of, when he gets a tackle or usually a tackle for loss or a sack. You talk a little bit about how he's improved over the course of the season and what you're getting out of those defensive tackles as a whole.
Yeah, I think that group's a really good group. DJ Hicks is a problem, right? He part of the problem when you're playing D tackles, you get double teamed a lot, right? But with DJ, I think in the pass game, he's been a really, really good pass rusher inside, moves the pocket. A lot of times you don't notice it as much but he's collapsing things that allow the DNs to get sacks, allow the linebackers to get sacks. DJ Hicks, I think, is playing at a really, really high level. Albert Regis, I think, is playing at a really high level. And then I think Taurean York, has really came in and added us a third piece there, a really athletic inside guy who we can move out to end some and has done that and done a really nice job for us. And then I think, the young guys have really come along. Tony's done a great job with those guys, man. So, but yeah, man, DJ Hicks is I'm glad we have that guy. He's a problem.
To the left, second row.
Hey, Coach. How have you and the defense held each other accountable?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing with our players is I'm not afraid to tell them I screwed that up, and so I think they appreciate that. They're definitely times on the sideline. I'm like, hey man, my fault on that one, right? So I think if you're honest with them, they're honest with you. But I the way we practice, the way we chart practice, I think builds a level of accountability, and I think that what Mike does with them. With film, in front of the whole defense, in front of the whole team, no one's immune, right? And so I think we're very much. I feel like this is what I think we've achieved. We've achieved a player-driven standard where they want to play at a certain level. They want to play at a certain level of physicality. They want to play at a certain level of effort. And if you're not doing that, it's pretty obvious because everyone else is. And so they see it. I see it. They see it. And so we just show them, hey, look, is that our standard? And if it's not, then we got to fix it. And so I think all that together is helping us play, pretty good defense most of the year.
We'll stay to the left, front row. Robert.
Coach, complete shutdown come out in the second half. So my question is, would you rather your team defense be playing this week, or was it so emotional and physical the bye comes at a good time?
I mean, look, I'm a believer in when you're in a rhythm, keep playing, right? But however, I do think physically we need a break. I think we're they were shot a little bit, and I think you've had some guys play a lot of football these last 5 weeks, a lot of physical football in this conference. So I think it's coming at a good time. I think because we know we have a real challenge, and we've been spending all morning watching Missouri, a really, really good football team. So I think we do need a little bit of a break physically. And we'll give a lot of our guys that have played a lot a physical break, and then it's back at it. So I think Coach Elko will remind them when we get back to work of what the expectations are. So I think we'll be all right.
To the right, front row, Carter.
So over the last 4 games, you guys have had 18 sacks, and the O-line's given up only 1 sack. Just when it's that complementary. Does anything really matter when it's that complementary and that strong on both ends in the trenches? And just how have you seen kind of the identity of this team come through the trenches?
I think Coach Cushing does a great job. We've got veteran guys over there. I see them in practice. They're long. They don't get fooled much. They've played a lot of football. So I think every day, we do a half-line run on Tuesdays, and I feel like every Tuesday I'm kind of like, all right, whoa, let's just play in 4 days, but it's a really good group of kids to compete against. I think we've got some young men that have really improved and are playing at a high level. And look, this is a big man's league. Football will always be about big people, and when you've got good big people, you have a chance to win a lot of games.
And after the first 3 games where maybe it wasn't so great for the defense, what gave you confidence that it would all come together, and what do you think maybe changed after those first few games?
I think we were falling into line a little bit of schematically what we were going to be. I do think we had some new pieces that kind of sorted itself out. I think I have confidence in our players. I felt like we, once we kind of got in the right rhythm, I knew we were going to be fine, and I think we found that rhythm, and they started playing really well.
We'll stay to the right, second row, Olin.
Jay, I loved what you had to say about how much you love the guys playing with an edge on defense, I guess my question then is it an acceptable side effect to that when you get, say, a a penalty like Des got there on the sideline that
No, it's
extended
not
that
acceptable.
drive, and how do you find the balance between?
No, look, I mean, look, there are certain things that come with playing defensive football, right? But like, no, Dez's penalty was addressed by Coach Bateman very quickly. You know what I mean? So, amongst other coaches, right? But no, that's not acceptable, right? And so, like, what's acceptable is you play really, really hard, and sometimes you play the whistle, and sometimes like it's a bang bang play. We tell our guys, don't leave it in the hands of the officials. You know what real football looks like. Like Albert Regis has had a penalty against Auburn earlier in the year. That I don't necessarily know I agree with, but like you can't put yourself in that position. And so, look, we have to play really, really hard and play with a mindset and a mental edge, and then, but at the same time, right, we can't have dumb penalties, and I think that's what we preach.
But is it? Well, that's what you. Is it? In your experience, is it difficult to get the guys to play at the level you're talking about, and with that kind of emotion, and then be able to expect them to always rein it in?
No, nobody says it's going to be easy. No one promised it would be easy, right? So, like, if you want to play at a really hard level and you want to play at a really high level, you want to play with an edge, you want to play good defense, you have to do that, and at the same time, you have to manage your emotions.
We'll go to the left, fourth row, Rob.
Howdy, Coach. Looking forward to Missouri. They run the ball really well. I think they're number 6 in the nation in rushing. Plus, they run really well at home. But now they have new quarterback. You've only got less than a half a tape on this kid. What kind of challenge does that kind of pose for you? Is seeing a new quarterback, but they like to run the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect for what they do on offense. Eli's always been able to run the football, so I think we have to do a really good job of stopping the run. I think injuries are the most unfortunate part of this game, and but I know certainly when the new kid came in at quarterback, I thought he was really impressive, and he was a really highly recruited kid. So I don't think it's going to change a lot. I think it's going to be our ability to stop the run, win the line of scrimmage, and control the pass game. And I think that's where it's going to be when you play a really good team in this conference. That's the way it's going to always be.
All right. Anything else for Coach Bateman? Great. Thank you.
Thanks.